There is a word that was spoken over Dian Bodis, and they moved. There is a sound that traveled through the streets of Galilee 2,000 years ago, and the very atmosphere trembled in response. Most people who call themselves followers of Jesus have never heard this word, and yet it may be the single most powerful declaration he ever released into human existence. The Aramaic language is not simply an ancient form of communication. It is a living architecture of sound, vibration, and divine intention, a structure through which creation itself was spoken into being. When Jesus opened his mouth to heal someone, he was not performing a religious ritual or asking heaven to cooperate with his compassion. He was activating a frequency that the human body, the soul, and the fabric of material reality were specifically designed to receive and respond to. That frequency has a name. That name is Asuta. In the mother tongue of Jesus, Asuta does not simply mean the absence of sickness. It means wholeness. It means the restoration of divine order in a life that illness, trauma, grief, or time has violently disrupted. What you're about to encounter in this teaching has been waiting in the ancient language for over 2,000 years, and the fact that you are here right now at this precise moment in your life is not a coincidence. There is something profoundly different about the way Jesus healed people. He did not offer comfort alone. He did not simply pray and wait for something to perhaps arrive. He spoke, and the spoken word itself became the living agent of transformation. To understand why, you must first enter the world he inhabited and the language he breathed every single day of his life on earth. Jesus was a native Aramaic speaker. Aramaic was the common tongue of first-century Judea, the language of the home, the marketplace, the synagogue, and the deepest forms of prayer. It was also, according to the oldest mystical traditions, a language uniquely structured to carry divine frequencies. These were sounds that resonated with the original patterns through which creation itself was spoken into existence before time began. The Aramaic word, asuta, comes from the root verb, asa, meaning to heal, to cure, to restore something to its original state of wholeness and harmonic order. But asuta does not only describe healing as a physical event that occurs to a body. In the Aramaic worldview, the same worldview through which Jesus perceived every dimension of reality, healing is a cosmic realignment. When something is broken in the body, it reflects a disruption in the deeper order of a person's spirit, soul, and invisible relational field. A-S-U-T speaks to all of these layers simultaneously. It is not a symptom-focused word. It is a wholeness-focused reality, operating at every level of human existence at once. When Jesus moved through the towns of Galilee, touching the blind, raising the paralyzed, cleansing the diseased, he was not improvising in moments of spontaneous divine compassion alone. He was operating from a precise understanding of how sound, faith, and spiritual authority interact with the structure of the material world. Asuta was not a label placed on healing after it had already appeared. It was the frequency released into existence before the healing ever manifested in the physical. And here is what makes this teaching unlike anything you may have encountered before. In the chapters that follow, it will walk you step through the exact healing protocol that Jesus modeled in his ministry, a living, applicable practice that you can begin bringing into your own body, your own condition, your own life, right now. Stay with me. What comes next was designed to change how you understand healing forever. To truly receive what Asuta carries, you must understand the invisible architecture behind it. In the world of Jesus, the Aramaic-speaking world of first century Palestine, the human being was never understood as simply a physical organism, subject only to biological processes. A person was understood as a living, breathing field of energy, spirit, breath, and intention, all woven together in a design that was fundamentally and irreversibly divine. When illness entered this field, it was not understood merely as a mechanical failure of tissue or organ. It was a disruption of alignment, a fracturing of the harmonic pattern through which divine life flows into and through a human being. The physical symptom was the last place the disruption appeared. The root was always deeper, always invisible, always connected to something occurring in the unseen dimensions of a person's inner world. This is why Jesus never healed the same way twice. He was not following a fixed protocol of physical medicine. He was reading the specific frequency disruption in each individual and releasing the precise declaration that would restore alignment at the deepest root level. Asuta was the overarching vibration, the master frequency of wholeness that Jesus carried within his own being and transmitted through his spoken word, his hands, his presence, and even his gaze. The Gospels record accounts of people being healed at a distance without Jesus physically touching them, without even being in the same geographical location. This ceases to be mysterious the moment you understand that Asuta is a frequency, not a procedure. A frequency can travel. A frequency can cross distance. A frequency can penetrate matter and reach the hidden root of a disruption that no human instrument could locate. When Jesus declared the reality of healing into existence, he was not petitioning heaven for something that might happen. He was announcing that it was already accomplished in the realm of divine truth and releasing the sound that called physical reality into alignment with that truth. This is the precise mechanism that you are beginning to recognize. You are not a passive victim of disease. You are an active participant in the field of Asutse, and that changes everything. The words of Jesus in Aramaic open different pathways back to divine alignment. Each one represents a frequency capable of restoring something fragmented in human consciousness. Understanding these frequencies is the first step, but mastering their vibration in your daily life is where the true miracle happens. Aramaic words carry a sound dimension that is deeply vibrational, and some of these pronunciations may reach your ear slightly differently depending on how they are rendered. To help you embody each frequency with precision, I created a collection of 5 sacred study guides, each one dedicated to a specific Aramaic declaration and its practice. Inside, you'll find the correct pronunciation, guided meditations, and daily activation rituals. The link is pinned in the comments. Your deeper transformation begins there. The Gospels are filled with accounts of Jesus healing the sick, and when you read them through the lens of us, something extraordinary becomes visible that an ordinary surface reading completely misses. These are not simply miracle stories designed to inspire admiration. They are precise demonstrations of how divine frequency interacts with the human body and the human field of existence. Consider the healing of the 10 lepers recorded in the Gospel of Luke. Jesus did not touch them. He did not lay hands upon their diseased skin. He simply spoke, and as they went, walking in the direction of obedience and trust, their bodies were cleansed. The Aramaic understanding of this moment is breathtaking in its precision. Jesus released the frequency of Asuta into their field of existence, and as they moved in alignment with that declaration, their bodies caught up with the reality the frequency had already established in the unseen realm. Then there is the centurion whose servant lay paralyzed and in terrible anguish. The centurion came to Jesus and said, "Speak only the word, and my servant will be healed." Jesus marveled at this response. He did not marvel at many things, but this he marveled at openly. Why? Because the centurion had understood something that the religious elite of his era had entirely missed. The healing lived in the word itself. The authority was encoded in the sound. The frequency of Asuta required no physical proximity. It required only that it be released by one who carried the authority to speak it. And Jesus released it. The servant was healed in the same hour, in a completely different location. These accounts are not invitations to passive spiritual admiration. They are living demonstrations of a principle that Jesus declared was available not only to himself, but to all who would receive it. The frequency of Asuta did not retire when Jesus ascended. It was encoded in the teachings. It was left here, accessible, waiting for the moment when a human being would learn to tune their inner life to its ancient, undiminished vibration. If something in you is shifting as you receive this teaching, trust that movement. It is your original nature recognizing itself. The 5 sacred study guides were designed to walk beside you as that remembrance deepens, layer by layer, word by word, frequency by frequency. Each guide carries the full context of these sacred declarations, their sound, their meaning, and their power to dissolve what no longer belongs to you. The link is pinned in the comments. Your return to wholeness has a next step. There is a question that arises honestly in the heart of anyone who seriously encounters the healing ministry of Jesus. Why did some people receive healing and others did not? It is a real question, and it deserves a real answer. One rooted not in religious platitude, but in the actual Aramaic understanding of how divine frequency operates within and through a human life. Asuta is not a magical incantation that overrides human will or bypasses human participation. It is a frequency that invites and depends upon a specific quality of inner alignment, and that alignment requires three things: openness, trust, and what the Aramaic tradition calls immunity. This word is often translated as faith, but its actual Aramaic meaning is far more precise and far more powerful. Imuna means settled confidence. It means an inner atmosphere of certainty in the reality of something that has not yet appeared to the physical senses. When Jesus healed people, he consistently pointed to something within them as the activating factor in their own restoration. He said, "Your faith has made you whole." In Aramaic, that declaration is staggering. He was not saying, "I have decided to grant you healing today." It was signing the quality of inner trust you carried into this moment, created the open channel through which us could flow without obstruction into the deepest layers of your existence. This is a completely transformative understanding of how healing works. You are not a helpless recipient waiting for divine mercy to arbitrarily descend upon your broken body. You are a co-creator in the field of Asut, and your inner posture matters profoundly. The quality of your trust, the depth of your openness, the willingness to release fear and resistance. These are not peripheral emotional states. They are the very architecture through which the healing frequency moves into physical reality. Jesus never healed anyone locked in absolute, rigid resistance. Not because he lacked the power, but because Asuta is inherently collaborative. It flows through open channels, and the most critical channel in your healing is always you. You have received the understanding. Now it is time to receive the living practice. The healing protocol of Jesus was never a series of random divine spontaneous acts. It was a precise and repeatable movement through specific inner and outer conditions. And every single one of those conditions is available to you right now, in the circumstances of your own life. The first movement of the Asuta protocol is what Jesus consistently practiced before every major healing encounter recorded in the Gospels: withdrawal into stillness. Before he healed, he prayed. Before he spoke the word, he entered the silence. In Aramaic spirituality, this silence is not the absence of sound. It is the presence of divine frequency before it takes verbal form, the place where acid already exists in its fullness before it is spoken into the material world. To activate this healing frequency in your own life, you must first learn to access that place of inner stillness, even briefly, before you make your declaration. The second movement is declaration with full inner authority. When Jesus spoke, he did not whisper tentative suggestions into the air. He declared. In Aramaic understanding, the spoken word is an act of creation. It participates in the ongoing formation of reality. When you speak Asuta over your body, over your condition, over the area of your life that is waiting for restoration, you are not making a request. You are declaring the divine reality that already exists in the realm of Asuta to become visible and operative in the material world. The third movement is release, what the Aramaic tradition names shavak, the act of surrendering the outcome completely into the hands of divine order. After Jesus spoke, he never anxiously monitored the results. He released the frequency and trusted the divine design to fulfill what the declaration had set in motion. Fear and anxious observation after the declaration break. The channel of reception really seals it and allows it to do its full work. These three movements, stillness, declaration, release, form the living and repeatable core of the Asuta protocol that Jesus demonstrated. In every healing account, the Gospels preserve. There is a truth that Jesus carried everywhere he walked, a truth that the Aramaic language holds in its very structure. And it is this: wholeness is the original design. Sickness is not the natural state of a human being. Brokenness is not the intention written over your life before you ever drew your first breath. Asuta, Healy, wholeness. Divine restoration was always the frequency that the Creator embedded into the architecture of human existence, before illness, fear, or time ever had a chance to speak otherwise over your body and your life. Jesus did not come to introduce a new system of divine favor, available only to a religious elite who had mastered the correct rituals. He came to demonstrate what was always available to show that the frequency of a sutta could move through an ordinary human life, spoken in ordinary Aramaic words, and produce extraordinary results that no human system could manufacture, explain, or contain. And he said clearly, directly, in the language he spoke, that those who received his teaching would do these things. That means you. That means this moment. That means the condition you are carrying right now, the diagnosis you received, the exhaustion living in your body, the place where something has been broken for so long that you have almost stopped expecting it to be restored. ASUTA speaks to all of it. The frequency of Jesus is not diminished by the passage of 2,000 years. It is not limited by geography, language, or religious background. It moves wherever there is openness. It heals wherever there is trust. It restores wherever a human being says yes, with a settled, quiet, unshakable inner confidence, to the ancient sound of divine wholeness that was always designed to move through them. You were not an accident. Your body was not designed to live in permanent disruption. And the teaching of Jesus, carried in the ancient Aramaic frequency of Esuta, is not merely a historical record of miracles performed for other people in another time. It is a living declaration, available now, waiting for your voice to release it into your own existence. Did you feel something shift today? Did these words touch something deeper in you? If they did, leave the word awakening in the comments. That is your confirmation that the light within you is moving. And when the light moves, it needs a path. Discover our complete collection of 5 sacred study guides created to carry your transformation beyond this moment. The link is pinned in the comments. Your next step is waiting. Right now, before you close this video, come to the comments and tell us, what did you feel? What shifted? We read every single response. And if this teaching found you today, subscribe to this channel. Every week, we go deeper into the ancient frequency codes that were always meant to be yours. We are just scratching the surface of this ancient power. Get ready, because in our next video, I will reveal even deeper Aramaic codes that unlock spiritual authority you've never imagined. Make sure you are subscribed and have notifications turned on so you don't miss this unfolding revelation.